The sky over Miami was painted in warm streaks of orange and pink as the massive Carnival Ocean Star towered over the port like a floating city. Families rushed up the gangway, dragging suitcases and beach bags, eager for 7 days of sun, ocean, and escape. Among them was the Ramirez family, smiling, excited, and, as far as Elena Ramirez knew, completely intact. Elena held her phone in one hand, recording everything. Her husband, Daniel, pushed their luggage with the calm, quiet confidence he always carried. Maya, their 15-year-old daughter, walked beside them, headphones in, pretending not to be excited. And little Lucas, only 9, bounced around like an electrified pinball, begging to go straight to the pool. It was supposed to be perfect. A fresh start after a long year of work stress, teenage attitude, and family distance. Elena told herself this trip would bring them all closer again. "Smile!" she shouted as she pointed the phone at her family. Daniel gave a playful salute. Lucas threw his arms up like he just won a prize. Maya forced a smile, but her eyes, wide and wandering, betrayed something else. Elena didn't notice. Not then. They stepped on board, greeted by music, frozen drinks, and the distinct vibration of engines humming beneath the decks. The carpet was new, the air smelled of sunscreen and salt water, and bright advertisements promised adventure. Snorkeling, island tours, foam parties, and midnight buffets. Their cabin was small but cozy, with bunk beds for the kids and a tiny balcony overlooking the ocean. Lucas rushed to claim the top bunk, climbing faster than Elena could warn him to be careful. Maya dropped her backpack onto the lower bunk, opened her phone, and turned away from the group. "Come on, we're on vacation," Elena said lightly. "No screens for a bit." Maya sighed and slipped the phone into her pocket, but she kept glancing at the door, as though expecting someone to enter. Again, Elena didn't notice. Instead, she said, "Let's explore the ship." The family moved from deck to deck, mapping out pools, theaters, and dining halls. While Daniel admired the architecture and Elena videoed everything, Maya hung back. At one point, Elena saw her daughter near a group of crew members, talking to a tall, thin worker in a dark blue uniform. He leaned down to her level, speaking softly. Too softly. When Maya spotted her mother approaching, she jumped. "Who was that?" Elena asked. "No one," Maya muttered. "Just asking where the arcade was." But the way she said it, too quick, too shaky, planted a tiny seed of concern in Elena's chest. A seed she ignored. That evening, the ship set sail. Dozens of passengers lined the rails as the horn blasted, and Miami's skyline shrank into the distance. Lucas squeezed between his parents, shouting with joy. Daniel wrapped his arm around Elena. "This is good for us," he whispered. "We needed this." Elena nodded, leaning into him, until she noticed Maya again. Her daughter stood alone at the far corner of the deck, gripping the railing, her hair blowing wildly in the wind. She wasn't watching the skyline fade. She was staring at the lower deck, as if watching someone, or making sure someone wasn't watching her. When Elena walked over, Maya quickly looked away. "You okay?" Elena asked. "Yeah, just tired." But her voice trembled. Later that night, when the ship was quiet and the family slept in their cramped cabin, Maya sat awake in the glow of the tiny bedside lamp. She opened her journal and scribbled in messy, desperate handwriting. "He said I shouldn't have said anything. I think he's angry. I think someone is watching me. If I tell Mom, everything will get worse." She snapped the journal shut the moment she heard footsteps outside the cabin door. Elena remembered that night years later, the last time her family felt whole. The last time she kissed Maya goodnight. The last time she heard her daughter laugh softly at Lucas snoring on the top bunk. In the moment, it felt like the beginning of a beautiful vacation. But in truth, it was the beginning of a nightmare. A nightmare no one, not Elena, not Daniel, not anyone on that ship, could possibly imagine. The morning sun flooded the Carnival Ocean Star with golden light, reflecting off the endless stretch of blue water. Passengers filled the breakfast buffet, laughing, piling plates, planning excursions. To anyone watching, the cruise was a floating paradise. But for Elena, something about Maya felt off. She kept catching her daughter scanning the room instead of eating, looking over her shoulder, flinching at sudden noises, avoiding the windows. "Maya, sweetheart," Elena whispered, leaning closer. "You're acting strange. What's going on?" "I'm fine," Maya said with a forced, too-wide smile. "Just tired." But her hand shook as she sipped her orange juice. Elena wasn't convinced, but she didn't want to start an argument so early in the trip. Later that afternoon, the family split up for an hour. Daniel took Lucas to the water slide. Elena stayed in the cabin, planning to rest. When she opened Maya's backpack to leave a sunscreen bottle inside, she noticed something sticking out. A small blue notebook. Maya's journal. Elena hesitated. She wasn't the kind of mother who snooped, at least she never had to be, but something felt wrong. Before she could decide, the cabin door clicked. Maya walked in, eyes wide the moment she saw the journal in Elena's hands. "Why are you touching my stuff?" I was just putting sunscreen. You're always watching me," Maya snapped. "Just stop." Before Elena could reply, Maya snatched the journal and stormed out. Elena stood frozen, guilt swirling in her chest. But beneath the guilt was something stronger. Fear. That evening, Elena decided to keep a closer eye on her daughter. Quietly, without pushing. During sunset, passengers gathered for the deck party. Music blasted, dancers performed, kids ran around waving glow sticks. Elena filmed Lucas jumping around while Daniel ordered drinks. Then she saw it. Maya at the far end of the deck, whispering to the same crew member from yesterday. He was tall, mid-30s, with sharp cheekbones and tired eyes. His uniform name tag read Christian. He stood too close. He spoke too quietly. His hand was almost touching Maya's arm. A cold, prickling sensation crawled up Elena's spine. "Maya!" she called, stepping toward them. Christian immediately stepped back. Maya jumped, startled. "What's happening here?" Elena asked, trying to keep her voice even. "Nothing," Maya shouted. "Mom, seriously, stop embarrassing me." Christian smiled politely, but something in his eyes was off. Flat, withdrawn, almost calculating. "She was asking about tonight's teen events," he said. "Just helping." Elena nodded stiffly, pulling Maya away. But as she walked her daughter back toward the crowd, she felt Christian watching them, watching closely. Later in the cabin, Elena tried again. "Maya, talk to me. Why are you speaking to crew members like that? Who is he?" "You don't get it," Maya muttered. "Then help me understand." Maya clenched her fists, struggling to find words. Then finally, he said it's better if I stay quiet. About something I saw." Elena's heart dropped. "What did you see?" Maya shook her head violently. "I can't tell you. If I do, it'll get worse." "Maya, you can tell me anything. I'm your mother." Maya looked at her, eyes wet. Not from anger, but from terror. But she said nothing. Instead, she grabbed her journal and hid it deep in her backpack. Much later that night, when the family slept, Maya quietly opened her balcony door. The sea air rushed in. She hugged her knees and stared out into the black water. Her lips quivered. Under her breath, she whispered, "I didn't mean to see it. I swear I didn't. Please don't hurt my family." A sudden knock at the cabin door made her jump. She froze, listened. Another knock. Slow, deliberate. She waited, terrified, until the footsteps faded. When she finally crawled back into bed, she couldn't sleep. Her heart hammered all night long. And by morning, Maya had made a terrible decision. One that would cost her life. The third night of the cruise was electric. A full-deck carnival party. Fireworks, neon lights, loud music, crowds dancing beneath the stars. It was the perfect chaos for someone trying to disappear into the crowd, or for someone being followed. Around 11:40 p.m., Maya leaned close to Elena and said, "I'm going to get ice cream. Be right back." It was normal, innocent. Elena nodded and kept dancing with Lucas. But that was the last time she saw her daughter alive. Minutes later, security footage showed Maya walking down a quiet hallway toward Deck 11, where no ice cream machines existed. She looked nervous, glancing behind her. A few seconds later, a second figure stepped into frame, tall, wearing a crew jacket. Christian. He followed her at a distance. Then both moved out of sight. No one saw what happened next. At 6:12 a.m., crew members spotted something floating near the ship's stern. A body. When Elena and Daniel were woken by the emergency call, they ran to the deck, only to see officers pulling Maya from the water, her hair tangled, her wrist bruised. The official announcement came quickly. A tragic accidental fall. But Elena knew instantly. From the marks, from the terror on Maya's face the day before. This was no accident. This was murder. The ship went eerily silent as word spread. A passenger had been found in the water. Elena pushed through the crowd, trembling, Daniel holding her up as her knees threatened to give way. When they reached the railing, she saw the lifeboat crew lifting a small, limp body onto a stretcher. Maya, her skin pale, her hair drenched, her wrist marked with dark, finger-shaped bruises. Elena screamed her daughter's name, but officers blocked her, insisting it was protocol. Within an hour, the captain issued a statement. Preliminary findings suggest an accidental fall. No signs of foul play. Accident. That word stabbed Elena like a knife. Because she saw the truth the investigators refused to mention. Maya's face wasn't peaceful. It was frozen in terror. When Elena demanded to see the footage, the security chief calmly said, "There's nothing more to review. The case is closed." Just like that, a child dead, family shattered, and a cruise ship eager to move on, as if Maya had never existed. But Elena felt it deep in her soul. Someone killed her daughter, and the ship was hiding it. The cruise ended with forced smiles and staged sympathy. But once the Ramirez family returned home, reality hit with brutal force. Their house, once warm, noisy, full of laughter, felt dead. Daniel retreated into silence. He stopped going to work, stopped eating at the table, stopped looking Elena in the eye. Every time she tried to talk about Maya, he flinched as though the name itself was a knife. Lucas, only 9, became a ghost of himself. He slept in Maya's room. He refused to speak for weeks. Sometimes Elena found him curled up on the floor, staring at the wall, whispering. She was scared. Elena threw herself into finding answers. She contacted cruise investigators, local police, federal authorities, journalists, anybody who would listen. Nobody did. The cruise line insisted it was an accident. The media didn't pick it up. The authorities said there was no evidence of foul play. One night, after another failed attempt with investigators, Elena broke down in the kitchen. As she sobbed into her hands, Daniel said quietly, "You need to let this go." She looked up at him, stunned. "Let go? They killed our daughter." Daniel's face hardened. "We don't know that. And obsessing won't bring her back." Something inside Elena cracked. It was the first moment she realized. She wasn't just losing her daughter. She was losing her husband, her son, her entire family. And she had no idea the worst was still coming. 3 months after Maya's death, Elena came home from grocery shopping to a silent house. Too silent. Daniel's clothes were gone. Lucas's toys missing. Family photos removed. Suitcases missing from the closet. No goodbye note. No message. No explanation. Police treated it as a voluntary disappearance, claiming Daniel simply needed space. Elena begged them to investigate. The officer shrugged. There's no sign of a crime. But Elena knew her husband. He wouldn't take Lucas without telling her. Unless someone forced him. Her family hadn't vanished. They had been taken. 7 years passed. 7 long, lonely, grief-filled years. Then, on the anniversary of Maya's death, Elena received an anonymous email. No text. Just one photo attached. She opened it and felt the world tilt. It was Lucas, older, maybe 16, standing on a dock. Behind him was a cruise ship, the same ship where Maya died. the Carnival Ocean Star. Under the photo was a single line. You were right. Elena booked a ticket immediately using a fake name. She boarded the Ocean Star trembling. Every hallway a memory, every corner a scar. For 2 days she searched the decks. Then, on night 3, her heart froze. There, near the buffet line, stood Daniel. Thinner, paler, eyes hollow, and beside him, Lucas, alive. When they saw her, both faces drained of color. Daniel whispered something to their son and pushed him away, as if protecting him. Elena followed Daniel into a dark service hallway. He didn't run. He knew the truth had finally caught up. In the shadowy storage room, Daniel finally broke. Through tears, stammering, shaking, he confessed. Maya had witnessed a trafficking exchange between corrupt crew members. She saw a girl being dragged into a restricted cabin. She told Daniel. But Daniel wasn't innocent. He had already been threatened by the traffickers weeks earlier after borrowing money from them on board. When Maya panicked, the traffickers told Daniel, "Your daughter talks, your whole family dies." He tried to warn her silently. He tried to calm her. But the crew handled the situation themselves. Maya's death was staged as an accident. Afterward, they forced Daniel to disappear with Lucas and move ship to ship, always watched, always controlled. If he refused, they would kill Elena too. Daniel fell to his knees. "I didn't kill her, but I let them take everything." Elena recorded everything. Daniel's confession, names of the crew, locations, 7 years of secret movement. She sent it to the anonymous email sender, a ship engineer who had been gathering evidence for years, waiting for someone brave enough to expose the truth. The next morning, international authorities raided the ship at port. 5 crew members, 2 officers, 1 security chief, and Daniel charged for his cooperation with the ring. Lucas was freed instantly and placed into Elena's arms. He cried for the first time in years. A global investigation followed, exposing a trafficking network hidden behind luxury cruises. Elena visited Maya's grave with Lucas beside her. "We're safe now," she whispered. "And I kept fighting, just like you would have." The ocean breeze pressed against her face. Pain remained, but justice finally arrived. And after 7 years of darkness, Elena finally had her son back, her life back, her truth back.